Is traditional art dead?
No.
Yeah, I think so too. Hi there. Welcome back to the Make Art Don't Starve podcast. I'm your host, Kelsey.
And I'm your other host, Al, and we got an email with a very interesting and provocative question, and we have a lot of thoughts about it. Yeah.
We have so many thoughts, actually.
We have thoughts.
Lots of thoughts.
All the time, actually.
Let's talk about our thoughts instead of just saying that we have them. So here's the email. Hello, girls. Thank you for all the content you make, both personally and with this podcast. It's really helpful. I have a question. I don't know if it really fits, but as you are traditional artists, maybe you've asked yourselves this question too. Do you think traditional art is dead? I mean, for like illustration types of work, book covers, stuff like that, it feels like traditional art is too stiff and hardly editable, and that the future of art for debuting or emerging artists will only be good if you use Procreate or digital tools. I don't know if that makes sense, and I also know if that question applies to individual clients that come to you for a specific art piece. I think that in this case, traditional art is more valuable for commissions, but I'm really struggling and wondering if I should make Procreate work if I want to actually offer commissions and be valuable as a freelance artist. But thank you so much and have a beautiful day, Nada.
Thank you, Nada, for the email.
I hope that we're pronouncing your name correctly, but we don't think traditional art is dead at all.
Or dying.
Far from it, actually.
Yeah.
I think if traditional art were going to die, it would already be dead, and it's not. So here we are.
Yeah. I will say I think there's a lot of valid reasons for feeling that way, especially when you're talking about Procreate, because I remember back in the day when Procreate started, there was a lot of that discussion about Procreate does a lot of the work for you, and a lot of these Procreate artists were kind of doing the same thing, and that was a lot of criticism towards Procreate. And I understand, like, at the time, that was a very real fear. And I think to some degree, Procreate has a lot of tools that can be used that may, like, as a traditional artist who has to do everything by hand, I look at those stamps and I think, like, bruh, I wish, right? And I think some people still have that idea that Procreate does a lot of the work for you.
Yeah, I think there is, like, a sense in which that's true. I mean, it just, like, depends so much, you know? Like, it depends, like, the kind of art that you want to make and, like, the style. Like, there are definitely cases where, like, stamp brush packs are used, like, in a cop-out kind of way. In a way that's, like, okay, like, you literally just put the stamp down, then did no work after. Like, it feels weird calling that fine art.
Original art, yeah.
Yeah. And then there's also the sense in which, like, the use case, I guess, where, like, you use a stamp tool and then it's, like, the result just looks so different. Like, it's truly transformative. Yeah. You're really making something new. And there's, like, masterful ways to do it and there's, like, cheap ways to do it, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, no. I mean, like, Procreate is really hard to learn, actually, and to use well. Like, sure, brushes do some amount of work for you in the same way that, like, the right supplies for traditional art do the work for you. Like,
yeah,
I used to do, like, pour painting, like acrylic pouring, and, like, I'm just pouring down paint onto the surface and tilting it around. Like, the paint is doing the work for me, but, like, there are still quirks of the medium that you have to learn in order to really master it, and that's not a thing that everyone does or, like, has a natural predisposition for, maybe. So I mean, it's like any other medium, you know what I mean? Like, it just takes work. Traditional art is just, like, it's so hard in, like, different ways than traditional art, but I think, like, both are valuable in their own way. Yeah,
in terms of, is it dying, is it dead, I think there are a lot of things that you can look at and be like, well, like, a point against traditional art, right? Like, a lot of things have become automated or digitized. A lot of things are now being done in a way that really knocks traditional art out of the formula, but also it has resisted this entire time. Like, we have not gotten rid of it in any step of the, like, I'm thinking in like animation, right? Like, we still need traditional art. Before you get to any other part of the process, we are using traditional art. And I think that will always persist because, you know, not everyone has access to any sort of digital medium or any sort of anything, but almost everyone has access to pencil and paper. There's this house that I grew up near. It's a historical site. It's called Graffiti House. And it was, I believe, I don't remember. I'm horrible at history. I believe it was a Civil War hospital, and I went there to visit with my friend, and there were beautiful, beautiful illustrations that had been done with charcoal. A soldier had a tiny bit of charcoal, and I have photos. They're beautiful, beautiful illustrations of these beautiful women, and like, can you like, it's never gonna leave. Like, traditional art has always been something that we have found beauty and humanity and connection in. There's always been something that people have reached for, and to this day, like, there's AI and there's digital art, and still a lot of digital artists love to sketch traditionally. There's an art to traditional art, a connection there that I don't think will ever go away, no matter what other things that we have that are better or easier or prettier. Traditional art will always be something that we love.
And I mean, like, it definitely changed the job market when traditional art really started to be something that could be used commercially, for sure. Like, whole industries have appeared in, like, special effects and, like, 3D animation and game development and concept art that rely on those tools. And, like, there are a lot of comments and, like, general senses of fear happening right now in the art community surrounding AI and, like, what it's going to do to the art market. And the reality is, like, it's going to change it a lot. Like, I'm not able to predict the effects of AI. They're going to be so widespread. They're going to affect everything. Like, why would you need to hire paralegals when you have LegalBot 3000 that knows all of the laws ever in the United States and can, like, craft a much more nuanced legal defense that your average paralegal maybe couldn't for the attorneys they work for, even attorneys in general. Like, hire skilled labor like that is repetitive, research-based, is going to be, like, prime for automation, and some parts of the art industry fit into that category. And we have tools like Midjourney and DALL-E 2 that are, like, really, like, impressive AI things. Some of that work can be copyrighted right now, and I think the US Copyright Office is still, like, prohibiting AI work to be copyrighted at the moment. But, like, I don't think that is going to have an enormous effect on the art market in terms of, like, eliminating it altogether. I think art will still be a thing that people value, if only because, like, now you have something that's made by a human when everything around you might be more made by an AI. I think, like, what is the point of human culture if it's all decided for us by an automated algorithm that doesn't feel real or genuine? Like, the immediate counterculture that I could see popping up in response is that, like, traditional art's value even more, or digital art and human labor is valued even more as a result of automation. And, like, hopefully that is the future that we are hurtling toward. But I think traditional art will always have value. Like, it's always interesting to, like, one, master the skill, right? Like when cars were invented and horses stopped being the predominant, like, thing transporting people, we didn't just, like, get rid of horses. We did get rid of a lot of infrastructure geared toward horses to, like, make room for cars and stuff. But, like, people still ride horses. They're still passionate about horses. Like, we still have, like, the horse girl stereotype. Like, it's still, like, a thing that's predominant. Like, it's more niche now than it was before, sure. But, like, horses are more expensive than they used to be. They're more higher valued, and it's more of, like a bougie pastime or something. Like, it has more positive reputation to it than it used to or something. I think, like, similar things will happen to art probably because of that. Like, it's going to be higher value. It's going to be, like, more niche, sure, but, like, niche isn't necessarily a bad thing. God, why does, like, furry porn come to mind right now as, like, a niche thing that has a lot of value? But, like, that
Kelsey.
that kind of thing.
Yeah. I will say I absolutely see your point. I want to say I disagree, honestly. I think and I think eventually that'll happen, but very, very, very far down the line. I don't think any of us really need to
I think it's going to happen really soon. Yeah.
I disagree because I think traditional art, maybe in terms of, like, literal, I mean, I'm not going to pay anything but a human any amount of money to have art. I'm not going to commission anyone but a person that I find, you know, that I like their art of. And I'm not going to watch any video except by a person, a person artist who I like to watch. And I don't think...
But what if you didn't know?
Well, if there's a person in it, then I'll know. And I think if there's...
Like, deepfakes are good enough right now that you wouldn't necessarily actually know.
I mean, I get your point, but, like, I'm not worried about that. Like, honestly, like, I'm just not worried about that. Like, truly, like, I don't think that's something that I'm not thinking about that. Like, if I don't think that that's, and I don't think that this is a market that like companies are going to be like, oh fuck yeah, we're going to make a lot of money off of deep faking, putting all this work into the art YouTube space. And I also think that like you're talking about it
our
being
YouTube
like,
for sure. Like it's not going to encroach on like our careers, but I'm talking about like people that do like concept art for like, you know, video game companies or like HBO or something. That's easily automated.
It is, and I think to a degree. So 2 points. Another thing I wanted to say is you were talking about it'll be like more valuable, but like more niche. I don't think. Yeah. And I know you're talking about like career wise, but in a broader sense, like more AI and more digital stuff is not going to limit the amount of like paper and pencil that we have. And even if one day we are limited on pencil and paper, like there's other ways to do traditional art, right? So I don't think. And I even
I'm talking about like supplies. I'm talking about demand.
No, I know. But I think for like career wise, like that's true now. Like AI is not like, we're talking about AI a lot. AI has been around to similar quality degree for a long time. And just because like there's been a lot of discussion about crypto and AI and NFTs recently. But the truth is very similar things have been around for so long, and we still have preferred humans. And I think I truly, maybe I just have hopes in humanity, like I'm more positive than the average person. I truly believe that it's going to stay that way for a very long time. I don't think, like, I don't see why, I don't care if it's cheaper. I think most companies who give a shit about their product are gonna be hiring traditional artists. And I think that will always, even, I think already it's like charming to have an artist, like a traditional artist with you, or any sort of artist with you on your team.
I definitely agree.
I understand your point, and I think that's down the line, but I'm not worried about that anytime soon. I think traditional art is, like, I'm not worried about it ever being hard. Like, it's already hard to find a job. Like, I don't think it's, like, I don't think much is going to change for most traditional artists, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I think, like, the thing that I was trying to point out is that, like, in a world in the future where, like, companies do outsource a lot to AI, that, like, it will become even more of a novelty to hire a skilled professional artist who, like, may be sure they can't crank out, like, 100 pieces in an hour that look like decent concept art level the way that Midjourney can, but that, like, the time and the effort that, like, the person spent building their skills and then creating something based on your prompt will become more valued, and that hopefully, like, we'll be able to charge more for our time. I think that's actually, like, a better world for most artists. Like, I actually want AI to, like, take over the, like, cheap, low quality, like, exploitative work that companies try and hand out to us. Like, awesome. You want to automate that? Great. I didn't want that anyway.
Yeah.
And that, like, maybe that will make some artists worse off, but that'll hopefully incentivize them to level up their skills and feel more confident charging more money for, like, the better clients that will value humans. I think that, like, the AI revolution, if you want to call it that, is going to affect, like, just the idea of human labor and what it means for, like, a labor to have value, and, like, how we consider humans to have value. Totally. Like, we've branched out so far away from that original email, but I do think that, like, traditional art is always going to have value. If you are just making art purely to make money, I don't know what to tell you. You're probably going to be automated away if your sole goal is to crank out, like, low quality pieces to sell, and then do that en masse. If you are making art because you literally can't help it, because you feel that burning itch inside of you and you couldn't think of another existence other than, like, the one of an artist, and, like, you desperately want to make stuff even if it's not your job, you're gonna be fine. Like, you're gonna be totally fine. If you're making art because you couldn't imagine living your life any other way, bestie, don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. You're gonna be fine.
I want to address their closing question, I guess. I'm really struggling, wondering if I should start creating Procreate work if I want to do commissions. At the same time, it would be weird to do something I don't want to do when I want to do illustrations to make stuff I like. So so what you're talking about, I think, like, specifically talking to Nada and anyone else who's kind of dealing with this conundrum,
this problem.
So anyone else dealing with this issue, because it's kind of like in this similar situation where we talk about, you know, we want to make videos that we're passionate about, but also we want to make the stuff that makes money. Is if you're trying to do this in a way that you are passionate about it, but you're also trying to make this your living and you're trying to make money off of it. I think there is a middle ground. I think if you have access to Procreate without having to go buy an iPad, I think it's a great idea to learn it. You might find out that you love it. If you really are against doing it, if it's really not what you want to do, a lot of illustrators work on Procreate and make beautiful art. I don't think that's like I don't think it's just because it's digital doesn't make it, you know, a worse art form.
Bad or a cop out or like less real art. Like, no, like digital art is definitely real art, especially people that like make like 3D models and like render it and have to learn like all of this stuff. Like, that's impressive. Digital art takes skill. I definitely don't want to undersell that. I love working in Procreate. I think it's a blast. That does not make you less of an artist. It is easier for commission work for sure, because you can change things a little bit easier. You can like that undo button. We don't have that shit in real life. That's convenient as hell. And yeah, I think like if you want to make traditional art, make traditional art. If you want to make digital art, make digital art. Like, don't surrender to anyone's opinions or like your own fears of the future of the medium. Just do the stuff that you want to do. That is our short little episode. I hope that you enjoyed it. Feel free to leave us all of your comments below. Let us know what you think of the upcoming AI revolution, whether or not you agree with Al, you agree with me, maybe you think that we're all gonna die. Valid, eventually probably, but yeah, we'll see you guys later.
Yeah, thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.